I've started a new channel called Lanila Tales. Please subscribe and watch my best stories there. Link is in the description. The camera focused on a man standing alone beneath a shattered sky as alien warships loomed above. Billions watched the broadcast live. A cold metallic voice asked through every device on Earth, "Where is your army, human?" The man cracked his neck, smirked, and said, "I am." Then the feed cut to static as explosions lit up the clouds. 8 hours earlier, no one believed aliens existed except for Dr. Leora Hayes, who also did not believe in brushing her hair, sleeping, or answering emails properly. In a cluttered lab filled with cold pizza slices and tangled wires, she detected something odd, a pulsating rhythm in deep space moving directly toward Earth. At first she thought it was her neighbor illegally using her Wi-Fi again, but the signal increased in strength, forming words in over 1,000 alien languages, all translated into one question: where is Earth's army? Government officials stormed her lab within minutes, demanding answers and stepping on 3 different half-finished inventions, including a toaster that could also predict heartbreak. Leora, wearing a lab coat stained with ramen broth, explained that she had accidentally responded to the aliens' signal with a simple message: Earth acknowledges. Apparently the aliens took that as an invitation to visit with battleships instead of souvenirs. Meanwhile, Aaron Vale was in a bar in rural Canada arguing with a vending machine. He had no idea that in a few hours the world would put all its hopes on his shoulders. He had been many things: ex-soldier, ex-fugitive, and currently the world's most irritated customer, as the vending machine swallowed his coin and refused to return his chocolate. His AI assistant buddy, built into a small earpiece, spoke up. Maybe the machine sensed your emotional damage and got scared. Aaron muttered, "I will dismantle it bolt by bolt." Around the world, panic grew faster than the spread of a new dance trend on social media. People posted memes of cardboard spaceships labeled Earth's Army, while governments held emergency meetings filled with yelling, coffee, and dramatic sighs. Within hours, strange lights filled the sky like floating cities of metal. Alien ships descended over major capitals, broadcasting a unified message: citizens of Earth, we summon your army to the Galactic Council. Present them for alliance or surrender. No one expected what happened next. Helicopters landed on an abandoned runway where officials gathered around a single man, Aaron Vale, who had been dragged there still holding a stolen chocolate bar. The president asked, "We need someone to represent Earth's military." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "You realize I am one guy, right?" The president whispered, "You're the only one who survived the ghost soldier experiment. We need you." Minutes later, cameras worldwide streamed Aaron stepping forward in front of an alien hologram projecting General Torvak, a towering armored figure with glowing eyes. Torvak said in a voice that vibrated through bone, "Where is Earth's army?" Everyone expected Aaron to surrender or hyperventilate. Instead, he slowly unwrapped his chocolate, took a bite, and said with absolute calm, "I am." For 3 seconds, silence ruled the universe. Then chaos erupted. Half of Earth thought it was a joke, the other half started printing t-shirts. General Torvak narrowed his eyes. "Earth's fate rests on you, singular soldier." He sounded both confused and mildly offended. Aaron replied, "Well, you asked?" Dr. Leora, watching the broadcast from her lab, nearly choked on her 7th cup of coffee. She yelled at her computer, "Why him of all people? Why the guy who once tried to fistfight a helicopter?" Buddy responded through the speakers, "Perhaps because he won." Within hours, Aaron was flown to a secret facility beneath the Swiss Alps where governments argued over strategy while offering him sandwiches. He ignored them and instead asked for the Wi-Fi password. Leora arrived moments later, dragging a whiteboard taller than herself covered in alien math symbols and coffee stains. She explained that the alien fleet could destroy Earth in under 6 minutes unless Aaron convinced them otherwise or distracted them long enough for her to finish building a planetary shield, which was currently held together by duct tape and panic. Aaron met Princess Ryla that evening, an alien envoy hidden among the coalition delegates. She had silver eyes, a strange curved sword, and the eternal expression of someone judging every human decision. She whispered to Aaron, "They will test you tomorrow. If you lie, they will destroy your planet." He replied, "Great, no pressure." Night fell and Earth hummed with unease. In cities, people gathered on rooftops staring at alien ships glowing like silent constellations. Children asked their parents if superheroes were real now. Someone on the internet started a petition to make Aaron Vale Supreme Commander of Earth. It gained 5 million signatures in an hour. Later, Aaron stood alone outside the facility, staring up at the stars. Buddy asked, "Do you regret saying it? I am, implying you're the entire army?" Aaron exhaled slowly. "I did not lie. I just have not explained yet." He looked at his hands, remembering the experiments, the power hidden beneath his skin, the price he paid. Tomorrow the universe would know. At dawn, the alien council arrived on Earth, hovering above Geneva like a floating cathedral of steel. Delegates from hundreds of worlds watched as Aaron stepped forward again. Cameras rolled. Hearts pounded. The question hung in the air once more: where is Earth's army? And Aaron, with a faint smirk, whispered, "I told you already." The ground beneath his feet trembled lightly as something ancient awakened inside him. The world did not understand yet, but soon they would. Aaron did not sleep the night after his declaration. His mind replayed every moment of the ghost soldier project, the screams, the failures, the syringes filled with liquid light. Scientists once believed they could manufacture the perfect soldier by merging human instincts with alien bioengineering stolen from a crashed spacecraft. Out of 300 recruits, only Aaron survived. They called him a miracle, but he always felt like a weapon left on a shelf waiting to be used. Now that moment had come, and the entire planet was watching. Morning light touched the snow-capped peaks above the secret base in the Alps, while below, inside its steel corridors, people rushed like ants during a storm. Aaron walked through the control center, where dozens of screens displayed alien symbols, weather patterns, and a countdown to first contact trial. Governments had agreed that Aaron would speak for Earth, but their faith was shaky. Some believed he would save them, others believed he would doom them faster than a politician on social media. He ignored their whispers and instead focused on the steaming mug of bad coffee in his hand. Dr. Leora Hayes arrived with tangled hair and mismatched socks, carrying 3 tablets, a sandwich, and 0 patience. She shoved a tablet at Aaron. "Look at this. The aliens are scanning our planet like someone shaking a vending machine. They are testing our technology defenses, even our internet memes." Aaron blinked. "They are judging our memes." Leora nodded gravely. "Yes, and we are failing spectacularly. The top trending meme right now is a dancing llama wearing a helmet labeled Earth's Only Hope." "Buddy," the AI chimed from Aaron's earpiece, "I find it inspiring. Llamas are majestic." Aaron muttered, "Remind me to uninstall you later." Before he could reply, alarms blared, red lights flashing across the facility walls. A voice over the speakers warned alien dropships landing on lunar base. Unauthorized. Dr. Leora swore loudly in scientific terms. Aaron finished his coffee, placed the mug on a general's map, and walked toward the launch bay. Soldiers scrambled, saluting him awkwardly because no one knew if he ranked above or below a president now. Leora caught up and handed him a device shaped like a wristwatch. "This will link your neural energy to our satellites. If you overuse it, your brain might boil." He smirked, comforting. The transport shuttle launched toward the moon, slicing through the atmosphere. Inside, Aaron stood silently while a group of nervous astronauts stared at him as if he might explode. Buddy whispered, "They are afraid of you, or maybe your hair." "Hard to tell." Aaron ignored him, but his fingers tapped against his knee, betraying the storm beneath his calm. The lunar base gleamed silver under the sunless sky. Smoke rose from hangars as alien soldiers in obsidian armor poured out like shadows. At their head walked Princess Ryla, her cloak flowing like starlight. She was not part of the attack, but neither did she stop it. Aaron stepped onto the lunar dust, boots crunching. The alien soldiers aimed energy spears at him. He raised his hands in mock surrender, and said politely, "I brought no army. I am still the only one." General Torvak descended from his flagship, landing with the grace of a wrecking ball. His armor shifted like living metal. "Earth soldier, you will demonstrate your power, or we will assume your words were deception." Aaron glanced at Ryla, who gave a subtle nod. He sighed as if agreeing to do a chore he disliked. He placed the device Leora gave him over his wrist. It hummed alive, reading his pulse. For a moment nothing happened. Then the ground trembled, cracks spreading across the lunar surface. Dust spiraled upward in a silent storm. Satellites above responded to his neural signal, redirecting solar energy toward him. His eyes glowed faintly, not dramatic like a superhero, but cold like a distant star. The aliens braced themselves. Aaron lifted one hand and the lunar soil rose with it, a wave of rock hovering midair. He flicked his fingers and the rocks scattered, forming a perfect ring around the alien soldiers without touching a single one. The soldiers froze, unsure whether to attack or applaud. Torvak's jaw twitched. You control planetary matter, Aaron shrugged. Only when I am in a good mood. Suddenly alarms blared from Earth, visible even from the moon as faint red flashes. Leora's voice crackled through his earpiece. Aaron, something is wrong. Our defense systems are compromised. Someone inside the Council is transmitting our weaknesses to the alien coalition. Aaron looked at Ryla, searching her face. She stepped forward, her voice sharp. It is not the coalition. It is someone far worse. The architect. Torvak growled. You speak lies, princess. She met his gaze. I have proof. He is using Earth as bait. He wants the ghost soldier for himself. The name the architect silenced the battlefield. Even the machines seemed to pause. Before more could be said, an explosion ripped through the lunar base. A hidden drone crashed into the communication tower. Aaron grabbed Ryla, pulling her away from debris. Torvak ordered his troops to secure the area while glaring at both humans and princess. This changes nothing. Ghost soldier, prepare for the trial at dawn Earth time. Fail and your world burns. Back on Earth, tension spread like wildfire. News channels replayed footage of Aaron lifting moon rocks while analysts argued if he was a hero or a walking weapon of mass destruction. In the base infirmary, Aaron sat while a medic wrapped a cut on his arm. Ryla stood nearby, silent, watching him. Finally she said softly, why do you fight for a planet that fears you? He replied, because someone has to. And because they make good chocolate. Leora burst into the room, waving papers. I found the traitor, or rather the encrypted data they sent. The architect knows everything about Project Ghost Soldier. He wants to reactivate the others. Aaron stiffened. There are no others. They are dead. Leora looked at him hesitantly. Not all records agree. Night settled again, but rest did not come. Aaron walked the hallways of the base while Buddy whispered calculations and sarcastic comfort. Outside, snow fell quietly while alien ships floated in the clouds like patient predators. Tomorrow the trial would decide if Earth lived or burned. Aaron leaned against the window, watching the sky. You asked where our army is, he whispered to no one. I guess it really is just me. For now. Dawn arrived, not gently but with the roar of engines and a sky split by alien light. The trial was set in Geneva, where an enormous floating platform hovered above the city, casting a metallic shadow over the snow-covered rooftops. Representatives from over 100 alien species filled tiered seats, their faces glowing with curiosity, doubt, and in some cases hunger. Earth's leaders stood at the edge of the platform, sweating beneath borrowed dignity. Aaron walked calmly to the center of the arena, his boots echoing against the cold steel floor. Buddy whispered in his ear, welcome to the Galactic Talent Show. Try not to vaporize anyone important. General Torvak stepped forward. Towering behind him stood a circle of alien commanders, each armed, each radiating the confidence of those who had conquered galaxies. Torvak's voice boomed, let this trial determine whether Earth stands beside the coalition or burns alone. Show us your strength, Ghost Soldier. Aaron glanced at Dr. Leora and Princess Ryla standing among the human delegation. Leora gave a nervous thumbs up while Ryla offered a barely visible nod. He rolled his shoulders and looked up at the audience as if he were about to perform a magic trick at a birthday party rather than decide the fate of a planet. The first test was combat simulation. A swarm of drone warriors rose from panels in the floor, whirring with sharpened limbs and glowing eyes. Aaron cracked his knuckles and muttered, this looks fun. The drones charged, metal claws slicing through the air. Aaron moved like a shadow, dashed with lightning speed, grabbing one drone and hurling it into another. He ducked, spun, and kicked another out of the arena, sending sparks shooting into the air. Aliens gasped, humans screamed, someone recorded on their phone despite strict no-filming rules. Within minutes all drones were piles of twitching metal surrounding him like fallen leaves. Aaron wiped a streak of oil from his cheek. Is that all? Torvak sneered. The challenge has only begun. The second trial involved tactical reasoning. A holographic battlefield unfolded across the arena, Earth's armies represented by tiny blue figures, alien forces by red. Aaron was instructed to command a defense. He leaned forward, studying the map. Leora whispered from behind, do not mess this up. He calmly restructured the lines using decoys and satellite pulses to trap the red armies in a spiral. With one final move, the holographic Earth forces surrounded and neutralized the enemy without massive casualties. An alien general squinted. Impossible. No race ever completed the spiral maneuver on their first attempt. Buddy chimed proudly. He does crosswords for fun. The final test seemed simple diplomacy. Torvak gestured toward a towering alien elder with silver skin and 6 unblinking eyes. Prove your loyalty to peace. Kneel and accept Earth as a vassal world to the Coalition. The platform fell silent. Cameras zoomed in. The wind even seemed to pause. Aaron stood motionless. Leora whispered, "Do not do anything stupid." He looked at the elder, then at the Earth delegates, then back at Torvak. He said in a steady voice, "Earth will stand as an ally, not a servant. We will fight beside you, not beneath you." The elder hissed a sound like ice cracking. "That is refusal." Torvak raised his arms, signaling an execution squad. Soldiers stepped forward, energy weapons glowing. Leora gasped. Ryla unsheathed her curved sword, ready to defend him. But before anyone moved, the ground trembled. A cold wind swept across the arena, though no storm was present. Then a voice unlike any other echoed, not through the ears but through minds ancient and vast. "How amusing. You argue over scraps while the true feast approaches." A figure materialized in the center of the arena, cloaked in darkness yet shimmering like broken glass. The alien commanders recoiled, some dropping to one knee in fear. Torvak growled, "Architect." The architect stood tall, his face hidden but his presence pressing against every soul like gravity. "My patience wears thin. I came for the ghost soldier. Hand him over and I may spare this tiny planet." Ryla stepped forward, blade raised. "You will not touch him." The architect chuckled, "Princess, always dramatic." Without warning, black tendrils of energy shot from his cloak, slamming into the platform, sending shockwaves through the city below. Buildings shook, glass shattered, people screamed. Aaron moved faster than thought, grabbing Ryla and pulling her out of harm's way. Torvak barked orders to his soldiers, who quickly formed defensive lines, though their weapons shook in their hands. The architect pointed a finger at Aaron. "You were made from my stolen designs. You belong to me." Aaron glared. "You want me? Come and get me." The architect grinned. "You assume I want you alive." He snapped his fingers and dozens of cloaked drones appeared surrounding the arena. They charged not at Aaron but at the human delegation. Panic erupted. Leora screamed as a drone lunged at her, only to be blasted aside by Ryla. Torvak roared and leapt into the fray, wielding a war axe with surprising speed. Aaron sprinted across the platform, vaulting over railings, crushing a drone with one kick. Buddy yelled, "Help, the president is hiding under a chair." Aaron responded, "Priorities, Buddy." Energy beams streaked across the sky as Earth's experimental fighters launched in defense. Aliens and humans fought side by side for the first time in history. Amid chaos, the architect moved untouched, gliding like a shadow. Aaron confronted him, fists clenched. "What do you want?" The architect replied, "Balance. Entire species bend to my will, and now it is your turn." He summoned a spear of dark light and hurled it. Aaron dodged barely as the spear sliced through steel. Ryla threw her sword to Aaron, who caught it midair, eyes blazing. Before the battle could escalate further, the platform shuddered. The architect paused, sensing something. Far below in Earth's crust, ancient machines awakened, responding to Aaron's presence. He felt a pull inside his bones, a whisper of power. The architect narrowed his eyes. "So it begins." He vanished into shadow, leaving destruction in his wake. The drones collapsed lifeless. Silence followed, broken only by crackling fires. Torvak stood panting, resting his axe. The trial is over. Earth has proven itself. But a greater war begins. Leora rushed to Aaron, grabbing his arm. "Are you hurt?" He shook his head, staring at the horizon where clouds smoldered. Ryla sheathed her sword, standing beside him. "The architect knows you exist now. He will return with more than threats." Aaron looked down at his trembling hands. He whispered the words quietly, "Not for others but for himself. I said I was the army. Now I have to prove it." Behind him, Geneva burned in the reflection of alien fire, and for the first time the world realized that being saved came with a price. After the battle in Geneva, the world felt different, as if some invisible curtain had been pulled back and humanity could no longer pretend the universe was a distant thing. The floating platform above the city was dismantled piece by piece while fires were put out and shattered glass swept from streets. News channels replayed the chaos over and over, pointing arrows at mysterious figures and speculating about the architect. Aaron was flown back to the base in the Alps where the air was colder and the silence heavier. He did not rest. The moment his feet touched the ground, world leaders surrounded him like seagulls arguing over a French fry demanding a plan. They appointed Aaron as commander of Earth's unified defense forces, which would have sounded impressive if the unified part was not a complete lie. Representatives from 17 nations immediately began arguing over what the new military uniforms should look like. France insisted on elegance, Japan wanted practicality, the United States wanted pockets, and the British ambassador quietly suggested adding teacup holders. Aaron walked out of the meeting halfway through a heated debate about whether camel patterns should include pastel shades. Dr. Leora found him hiding in a supply closet eating instant noodles. "So is this your grand leadership strategy?" she asked. He replied yes, avoiding everyone until they calmed down. Princess Ryla took a more direct approach. She stood in the center of a crowded room of generals and slammed her sword into the table. The noise silenced all objections faster than a meteor strike. "Earth will fall unless you stop bickering and prepare. The architect does not care about borders, flags, or tea preferences," she said. Arguments paused, though a few diplomats later formed an official committee titled International Tea Preservation during wartime. While politicians drafted treaties, Aaron trained soldiers from every continent. At first they stared at him like he was a ghost or a god. He told them plainly, "I am not a savior. I am just a guy who survived. You want to live, you train." His methods were brutal but effective. Soldiers ran through obstacle courses under simulated alien fire, learned to control prototype energy rifles, and most importantly learned not to scream every time Buddy the AI shouted motivational phrases like "embrace the pain, you beautiful disasters." Dr. Leora rarely slept. She built a planetary shield generator inside a massive underground facility using alien tech scraps, duct tape, and enough coffee to power a small star. The shield was designed to wrap around Earth like a transparent bubble reflecting energy blasts. The first test nearly blew out every light in Europe. When a general panicked, shouting, "You almost fried the planet," she calmly replied, "Progress." Buddy was assigned to education duty, which was arguably more dangerous than alien combat. He projected holograms of alien anatomy and battle strategy while making sarcastic remarks. "If you shoot here, the enemy dies. If you miss, they stab you." Any questions, soldiers both feared and adored him. Some even printed shirts reading "Buddy is my spirit guide," which the AI wore proudly on holographic form. But not everything went smoothly. Rumors spread that some world leaders wanted to hand Aaron over to the architect to save their own nations. Secret meetings were held behind closed doors, voices hushed and afraid. Ryla overheard one such conversation. She stormed into Aaron's quarters, fury burning in her eyes. "Your people would sacrifice you." Aaron shrugged, "I am used to it." Ryla stepped closer, her voice softening, "But I am not." One icy morning during a training drill, alarms screamed across the base. Alien ships had breached the atmosphere, not from the Coalition, but an unknown fleet. Aaron sprinted to the control center, screens displaying red triangles descending toward the Pacific Ocean near an uninhabited island. Leora shouted, "That is not a normal craft. It is cloaked in architect signature energy." Within minutes, explosions rippled across the water and an alien strike team emerged. Aaron led a small squad to intercept them. The island beach was quiet except for waves crashing and sand swirling under alien boots. These soldiers wore dark armor etched with symbols that seemed to move like smoke. They attacked without warning, firing beams of crackling energy. Aaron moved forward, absorbing the shockwaves through his enhanced nerves, and redirected them into the ground where pillars of sand shot upward, knocking enemies aside. Human soldiers opened fire, covering his flanks, while Buddy screamed, tactically speaking, "Do not die." One of the alien soldiers managed to wound a young recruit, slashing across his shoulder. Aaron caught the attacker by the wrist, and with a swift motion disarmed and subdued him. The rest retreated into the sea, disappearing beneath the waves. The battle was won, but not without casualty. Aaron knelt beside the wounded soldier who stared at him with wide eyes, saying, "I thought you were just a story." Aaron replied honestly, "Me too." Back at the base, tension snapped like brittle wire. World governance demanded answers. Who sent these attackers? Why? Here Dr. Leora presented her analysis. They were scouts from the Architect's personal army testing Earth's defenses. They did not come to win. They came to measure. That night Aaron stood outside the bunker staring at the stars. Snowflakes fell silently, melting on his skin. Ryla joined him, her silver eyes tired. She asked quietly, "Do you ever wish you had said nothing that day when they asked for Earth's army?" Aaron watched his breath mist in the cold air. Every day. But someone had to stand up. She hesitated, then asked, "And now do you still believe you are the army?" He looked toward the distant mountains where the wind howled like a warning. "Not alone anymore," he said. Leora interrupted them, holding a tablet, her expression unusually serious. "We have a problem," she said. "The planetary shield will take weeks to stabilize, and the Architect could return any day. Also, someone has sabotaged our communication network from the inside." Aaron rubbed his forehead. "Wonderful, another traitor." Buddy beeped cheerfully. "On the bright side, morale is up by 3%. But the future felt like a tightening noose. Training continued day and night. Earth's armies slowly transformed from frightened recruits into soldiers who could stand toe-to-toe with alien warriors. The Coalition finally offered ships and weapons, acknowledging Earth as an ally, not a pet. Yet, in quiet corners, whispers persisted that they were too late, and the Architect was already one step ahead. One evening Aaron gathered the soldiers and diplomats in the hangar. He stood on a steel platform, voice firm. "The Architect thinks we are weak, divided, predictable. He is wrong. We fight not because we want war, but because we want to live. And if we fall together." The crowd stood silent, then thunderous applause rose, echoing through the base like a heartbeat. For the first time humanity believed they stood a chance. Still far beyond the stars, in a realm of shadows, the Architect watched a holographic image of Aaron dissolve into static. He whispered to the darkness, "Let them prepare. Let them hope. It will make their fall exquisite." And somewhere deep beneath his feet, ancient machines continued to stir, waiting for the call of the one who said, "I am the army." The day the sky broke began like any other, with frost on the glass at the mountain base, and soldiers jogging through the snow, breathing clouds of cold air. Aaron walked along the training grounds, watching recruits practice forming energy shields, while Buddy shouted, "You call that a shield? I have seen stronger paper towels." Dr. Leora was half asleep in a chair, holding a tablet and a coffee cup at the same time, while Princess Ryla practiced sword forms alone, her blades slicing through the chilly air like wind on steel. Earth was preparing for war, but no one was prepared for how suddenly it would begin. The first strike came without sound. Satellites blinked out as if someone had pinched the lights of the sky. A second later the ground shook, the kind of deep earth trembling that woke ancient fears in every human heart. Warning alarms blared through the base. Leora bolted upright, yelling, "He is here! The Architect!" Aaron ran to the command center, where screens showed colossal dark ships emerging from folded cracks in the atmosphere like shadows tearing through cloth. These were not Coalition ships. They were silent, angular behemoths surrounded by swirling black energy. The attack hit 15 major cities at once. New York, Tokyo, Delhi, Cairo, London, all engulfed in sudden darkness as Architect drones descended. The planetary shield flickered as Leora tried to activate it. Sparks erupted from the generators. She cried, "It is not ready, it cannot handle this output." Aaron stepped beside her, placing his hand on the control panel. His neural energy surged into the core. Lights flared, the shield formed a shimmering dome around the Earth. But it was unstable, rippling like a soap bubble in a storm. On the front lines, soldiers prepared, but the Architect's drones were faster than anything they trained against. These were not simple metal machines. They moved like living shadows, with black armor that absorbed light and blades that dissolved matter. In Geneva, remnants of the floating platform became impromptu defense towers. Ryla led a squad of human and alien warriors, slashing drones apart in bursts of silver light. She shouted into the communicator, "Aaron, if you have a plan, now would be perfect." At the base, Leora monitored shield levels dropping dangerously. Sweat trickled down her forehead. Buddy announced helpfully. If the shield fails, we all vaporize into elegant ashes. Aaron focused harder, drawing on the power inside him, but his vision blurred. Leora grabbed his arm. You cannot sustain this alone. He replied through clenched teeth, I do not plan to. Despite the shield, some drones phased through like smoke. They infiltrated the base with chilling silence. One sliced through a control panel, sending sparks flying. Another lunged at Leora, but Ryla arrived just in time, cleaving it in two. Blood stained her silver cloak, but she did not slow. We need to evacuate the civilians, she said. Aaron answered, there is no time. He looked at Leora. Can the shield hold if I leave? She hesitated. Maybe for a while if nobody sneezes near it. He nodded. Then I go. Aaron boarded a coalition fighter heading toward Geneva, where the largest breach was happening. As he flew, he saw cities under attack, columns of smoke rising into the sky like black thorns. People ran through streets as drones hunted without mercy. Coalition forces and human armies fought side by side, tanks firing at alien shadows while plasma cannons lit the night. In the skies above Geneva, a massive silhouette loomed, the architect's flagship, a floating citadel of onyx metal. Aaron landed amidst the chaos, joining Ryla and Torvak, who were fighting back to back. Torvak roared, I thought you said you were the army? Aaron replied, I am working on it. They moved through streets littered with broken drones, smoke, and rubble. Suddenly a chilling voice echoed through the air, do you still believe you can win, Ghost Soldier? The architect appeared, hovering above the city, cloaked in swirling shadows. His eyes glowed like dying stars. Ryla shouted, face me, coward. He ignored her. His gaze fixed on Aaron. You are built from my designs. You are my greatest creation. Now return to me. With a wave of his hand, black energy chains shot toward Aaron. He dodged barely as the chains cracked the pavement where he stood. Torvak threw his axe, but the architect caught it midair without looking. With a flick of energy, he hurled Torvak into a building. Ryla attacked with a cry of fury, but the architect twisted her sword arm and sent her to her knees. Aaron rushed forward, landing a punch that sent shockwaves rippling, but the architect barely flinched. Foolish, he murmured. You fight for them, but they will betray you. At that moment, a massive blast struck the architect from behind. Leora arrived, piloting a stolen alien cannon strapped to a transport ship, her hair on fire and eyes wide with adrenaline. She shouted, did I hit him? Smoke cleared, revealing the architect unharmed and mildly amused. Impressive for a primitive world, he said. Then he raised his hand and a surge of black tendrils shot forth, ensnaring Aaron. These are not chains of metal but bindings of reality itself. Aaron struggled as his strength faded, his pulse slowed, his vision dimmed. The architect whispered, I only need you. Before Ryla or Leora could reach him, the architect vanished into a tear in space, dragging Aaron with him. The sky healed behind them, leaving silence. Geneva stood in ruins, soldiers frozen in shock. Leora fell to her knees, staring at the empty space where Aaron had been. Ryla screamed his name, voice cracking like broken glass. Back at the base, the shield flickered dangerously. Buddy said softly, Commander, Aaron is gone. Leora wiped tears and forced herself to stand. Activate Last Stand Protocol. Earth's defense moves to Phase 3. Torvak, bleeding, stepped forward. Earth does not fall today. He lifted his axe. We stand together. But in the shadows, hope trembled. Somewhere far away, Aaron awoke, suspended in darkness, surrounded by crimson lights beating like a heart. The architect stood before him, smiling coldly. Welcome home, he said. The true war begins now. Silence surrounded Aaron like a living thing, darkness pressing against his skin until he could no longer tell if his eyes were open or closed. He hung suspended in a chamber made of obsidian and pulsing veins of red light like arteries in a monstrous heart. The architect stood before him, studying him the way a sculptor studies unfinished marble. You cannot win, he said softly. You were never meant to. Aaron tried to move, but invisible restraints dug into his bones, cold and merciless. The architect stepped closer. You are the culmination of centuries of stolen science. My science. Earth used what they did not understand. You are not their hero. You are my property. Aaron met his gaze, ignoring the pain in every nerve. If you think I am going to say thank you, you're more delusional than Buddy on low battery. The architect moved a hand and pain tore through Aaron's mind like shattering glass. Memories flooded back the experiment room, the screaming, the needles, the cold water, his friends dying one by one. He bit back a cry. The architect whispered, "I gave you strength. They gave you fear. Why do you fight for them?" "Because they are my people," Aaron answered, voice hoarse. "And I chose them." The architect sighed like a disappointed teacher. "Then you choose extinction." He turned and the room shifted, its walls dissolving into a vast window of stars. Outside, a giant orb of light pulsed, the architect's ship hovering above Earth like a predator before the strike. Back on Earth, chaos had not stopped. The last stand protocol activated, planetary shield flickering like a candle in a storm. Coalition forces fought alongside human armies in burning streets under a sky filled with smoke and fire. In the war room, Dr. Leora Hayes yelled over alarms, "We have less than an hour before the Archivist fleet descends fully." Ryla bandaged and pale tightened her fists. "We cannot win without him." Buddy projected onto a cracked monitor and said, "Statistically speaking, yes, we are doomed." Leora glared at him, Buddy not helping. Buddy added, "But I have faith in the idiot. He always does something stupid and impossible." On the architect's ship, Aaron whispered to himself, "I am not done." He closed his eyes, reaching deep into the core of his power, the place he rarely touched because it felt like falling into a storm. He remembered faces, soldiers laughing around campfires, children waving flags, people who still believed. He whispered not to the architect but to himself, "I said I was the army. Time to mean it." His pulse slowed, his breath stilled, and then something inside him woke. The restraints cracked like ice under a hammer. The architect turned too late. Aaron broke free, energy rippling from his body like a shockwave. The entire chamber shuddered. The architect raised a hand, but Aaron caught his wrist, eyes now glowing with pale white light, not of rage but clarity. "You forgot something," Aaron said. "You built me to obey. But they taught me to choose." He slammed his fist into the ground. The ship trembled, ancient machinery groaning. Systems faltered, alarms blared in alien tongues. The architect roared, anger twisting the air. He summoned dark tendrils, but Aaron stepped forward through them like wind through smoke. They clashed, energy against shadow, every strike sending ripples across the stars. Aaron was faster, stronger, not because he was made to be, but because he refused to break. He grabbed the architect and hurled him into the wall, leaving a crater. The architect rose, cloak torn, eyes burning. "This changes nothing." Aaron replied, "It changes everything." Back on Earth, the sky lit up as the architect's ship crackled with white energy. Ryla looked up, eyes widening. "That is him." Leora breathed, "He is overriding the core. He is going to crash the ship." Torvak wiped blood from his brow and shouted, "Then we clear a landing zone. All forces retreat. Now." Inside the ship, the architect lunged one final time, a blade of pure darkness aimed at Aaron's heart. Aaron caught it, though it burned his hands. He shoved it aside and whispered, "I am not your weapon." Then he drove his fist, glowing with raw energy, into the center of the ship's core. Light exploded. The architect screamed, not in pain but in fury, as he was swallowed by the collapsing energy. Aaron felt the ship falling, dragging him with it. He closed his eyes, ready to burn with it. But a hand grabbed his wrist. Ryla stood above him, not in reality, but in a projection shimmering with blue light. "Fool," she said. "You are not allowed to die yet." Her image vanished, replaced by a surge of power from the planet below. Leora had rerouted the shield amplifiers, turning Earth into a beacon that pulled Aaron back. He fell through light, landed in snow on a mountain peak, the air freezing his lungs. The architect's ship exploded in the sky, scattering like shattered stars. The war did not end instantly. Drones collapsed, lifeless coalition ships blasted the remaining architect forces, retreating them back into the void. When the smoke cleared, humans and aliens stood side by side, silent as the sun rose, painting the world gold. Ryla found Aaron sitting on a rock, Buddy hovering beside him, humming a victory tune off key. She said, "You destroyed him?" Aaron shook his head. "No, I delayed him. He will return, or something worse will. But Earth is not alone now." Torvak approached, extending a massive hand. "The Coalition recognizes Earth as an equal ally. Fight with us, not beneath us." Aaron shook his hand. Leora walked up, hair burnt, singed eyebrows missing, smiling widely. We are alive. Against most academic predictions. Days passed. Cities rebuilt, alliances formed. The internet crowned Aaron as the most accidentally heroic human in history. Children carried wooden swords pretending to be the army. At a quiet hill overlooking a rebuilt Geneva, Aaron stood watching clouds drift. Ryla joined him, asking, "So what now?" He looked at the world and said, "Now we live. And prepare. Because if they ask again where Earth's army is, we will all answer, I am."